Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling one of the biggest, most powerful programming languages on the planet, Java. We're going to give you the essential blueprint, everything you need to know to get started, all in the next few minutes.
But first, why should you even care about Java? Well, let's start with a number that, it tends to get people's attention. That's the average salary for a Java developer right here in the US. So you can see, knowing Java isn't just a hobby. It's a seriously valuable skill that can power entire careers. Okay, so here's the game plan for our little journey today. We're going to kick things off with why Java is such a big deal. Then we'll get you set up with the tools you need. After that, we'll look at the anatomy of a program, write our very first code, and then wrap up with the core building blocks you'll be using all the time. All right, let's get right into it. What is Java, really? And how has it managed to stay so incredibly popular for decades?
So Java's been around since 1995, but its core philosophy is what really matters. It's this idea: write once, run anywhere. That means you can write your code on, say, a Mac, and it can run on a Windows PC or a Linux machine without you having to change a single thing. That was revolutionary. And because of that, its reach is just massive. Get this. It powers over 3 billion mobile phones. Think Android. It's in 120 million TVs, every Blu-ray player, and it's the language of choice for almost 9 million developers. It is everywhere.
Okay, so you're pumped. You're ready to start. What do you actually need to get going with Java? It's probably a lot simpler than you think. Believe it or not, it really just boils down to two things. First, you need what's called the JDK, the Java Development Kit. This is the official toolkit that has the compiler. That's the thing that translates your code for the computer. Second, you need a code editor. Think of it like a special word processor just for code. A really popular one is IntelliJ IDEA.
And this is where the magic happens. This is how that whole write once, run anywhere thing actually works. You write your code, your human-readable instructions, in a .java file. Then, the Java compiler that we just talked about takes that and turns it into something called bytecode. Now, this bytecode is like a universal language. And then the Java Virtual Machine, or JVM, acts like a translator on any device, allowing that one bytecode file to run absolutely anywhere. Pretty brilliant, right?
Okay, now let's look at the actual blueprint of a Java program to see how all these pieces really fit together. Once you get the structure, the rest starts to click.
Right, so when you crack open a Java file, what are you really seeing? What are the fundamental pieces that make the whole thing tick?
Okay, at the very bottom, the smallest building block is something called a function. A function is just a chunk of code that does one specific thing. The analogy here is just perfect. Think of a TV remote. You've got a button for volume up, a button for channel down. Each button does one job. That's a function.
But these functions don't just float around in space by themselves. They need a home, and that's where classes come in. A class is basically just a container, a way to group related functions together to keep your code organized and tidy. And there's this great quote from the programmer Mosh Hamadani that just nails this idea. He says, to think of classes like a supermarket. You've got the produce section, the dairy aisle, the cleaning supplies. Each section groups related items. A class does the exact same thing for your code. It groups related functions. Okay, so here's a key piece of lingo you need to know. We've been saying function, right? Well, in the world of Java, once you put a function inside a class, it gets a new, more official name: a method. It's the same idea, it does the same thing, but method is the proper term. And to keep all this code from becoming a total mess, Java has some really specific naming rules. It's all about making things readable. For classes, you use what's called Pascal case. See how the first letter of every word is capitalized? But for methods, you use camel case, where the first word is all lowercase, and then every word after that gets a capital letter. All right, enough talk, enough theory. Let's get to the good stuff. This is the moment every programmer remembers: writing your very first program that actually works. And here it is, the classic Hello World program. Now, it might look a little intimidating, but let's break it down. See public class main? That's our class. And notice it's using the Pascal case we just talked about. Inside that, we have our main method. That's the special entry point where every Java program starts. And this line right here, system.out.println, that's the command that says, hey computer, print whatever is in these parentheses to the screen. And after all that, when you hit run, this is what you see. Hello world. It might not look like much, but come on, that's pretty cool. You just told the computer exactly what to do and it listened.
That's what programming's all about. Okay, seeing hello world is awesome, but to really get it, we need to understand what all that stuff actually means. So let's peel back one more layer. To really understand what's going on under the hood, we have to talk about the absolute fundamentals, the core vocabulary of Java, variables, and the types of data they can hold. So what's a variable? Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is like a labeled box in the computer's memory. You give the box a name, like age, and you put some data inside it, like the number 30. That's it. It lets you store and remember information while your program is running. Now, the stuff you put in those boxes, the data, it comes in two main flavors in Java. You've got primitive types for all the simple stuff, numbers, single characters, true or false values. And then you have reference types for more complex things like text, dates, or whole lists of items. And this right here, this is probably the most important difference between the two. When you copy a primitive type, like a number, it's like making a photocopy. You get a totally separate, brand new copy. But when you copy a reference type, you're not copying the thing itself. You're just copying the address that points to the original. It's like sharing a link to a Google Doc. You both are looking at the exact same document. It's a crucial difference to understand. And that's it. There you have it. In just a few minutes, you've seen why Java is so important. And you've learned about its core structure, its key vocabulary. You've got the blueprint. You understand the basic language. The only real question left is, what are you going to build with it?